Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm taking a look at an expansion to Professor Evil in the Citadel of Time here. This is called Architects of Magic. In this small box, you are going to get a couple of new characters for the good guys in this cooperative game. And you are going to get a couple of new objectives as well as one new thing the baddie, Professor Evil, is going to have access to that might make your life just a little bit harder. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. However, I want to mention that I'm not going to go into the original game. If you don't know about that one or you want to watch a review of that, Tom Vassell and Melody, his daughter, did a review of it some time ago. So definitely check that out as well. If you want to know what the game's all about and then still curious about this, come on back for the expansion. If you've played the original game, you enjoy it, and you want to see what this adds to the whole package, then you're in the right place. Let's dive into it. This expansion is going to feature three main things. First up, two new characters, the Architect of the Impossible and this Agent of Illusion, and you can just choose to use these in your game as normal. They are going to feature cool new powers. They have their own 6 cards with neat abilities and, of course, neat artwork as well. And we have the Architect of the Impossible here is going to allow for some manipulation. Several of the cards, in fact, half of them, require that player to be in one of 2 places and then allows for a cool power. And then the other one is going to allow for some hypnotism and that sort of thing. Some of the cool cards, for example, such as this one, say that if Professor Evil moves into a room with the switch that is on, he'll instead turn it off, which is, of course, the opposite of what he would normally do, which is, if it's off, turn it on, or if it's on, leave it alone. So some cool manipulation there as well. Besides that, the second thing we've got here is these time portal tokens. The way these work is every time Professor Evil moves around the mansion, wherever he ends, if there is a time portal there, or rather if there is not one, he's going to add one there. And later on, if he ends up somewhere where there is one already, he will remove it and re-roll both of his movement dice. Not the time die again, just these 2, which allows him to move around more. Now the players do have a new action because of this, which is very simple. If you're in a room with a time portal, you can remove it for one of your actions and prevent him from taking those extra turns. And then lastly, the third part of the expansion is these possessions that Professor Evil has now. These are going to have, in many ways, the same things that the original artifacts had. They have a time. That's how quickly you must find this. They have down here the traps that must be off. But then over here, they have 2 special things. They have a special ability across the bottom, which is going to go to the players if they manage to recapture this. Or they have a time penalty at the top, which is what happens when Professor Evil takes this and the power is ignored if he does that, okay? And so, for example, this first one here has 2 time clicks, so the timer would move twice on here if the professor takes it. But if we, the players, reclaim it, then it says flip 2 switches off anywhere in the castle. Very powerful. Winning these, by the way, counts as only half of 1 treasure. The objective is still the same. Try to collect 4 treasures before the professor gets 4. But if we earn one of these, it simply counts as half of 1. Earning another one later on goes in that same spot, and now that's 1. That counts as 1. And these do all sorts of things. All the penalties are 1 or 2, and the powers are things like move 1 treasure marker clockwise 30 minutes. Get an extra 30 minutes. All players may each move to any room in the castle. Do not roll dice for the professor this turn. You've already seen the flipping a switch off, unlock 2 doors anywhere, and the other one is flip 1 switch or flip 2 switches off. So there you go. Those are going to get shuffled into the regular treasures, and then as they come up, you will deal with them, all right? Unfortunately, the backs of these tiles do not match the original tiles, as you can see, so it's very easy to spot these as they are coming up. So I would recommend either shuffling them up without looking before you need to draw one, or just tossing them in an opaque bag or something, and then drawing one out randomly. So there you go. That's the original. These are the new ones there. Not really a match. So that's everything you are going to get. That's the expansion to the game. So let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of all of these different parts. Alright, so there it is. First up, I'll tell you what I think of the original game. I like it about as much as Tom and Melody did in their video. I would rate it about a 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. So, the expansion itself. It adds some things, not too much. So, it's not one that sort of, blows the doors wide open on the original design, but that's not always what you need. If the original game has its target audience, you don't want this product to shoot for a different audience, maybe one that's looking for a more complicated game, because then it's not going to appeal to the original and people who enjoyed it, and it's never going to find its way to the people that already passed on it anyway, right? So let's dive into it. First up, and the only thing that I would say doesn't get a thumbs up from me, the aesthetics. For one very simple reason, those tokens don't match. Now it's not getting a negative here, because it's not supremely important that those tokens don't match. You do shuffle them up every time and then just pull one randomly. I just have a bag, and you just shuffle them in there and pull one out. That's fine. First time I played, what I did was I would just grab the whole stack of cardboard tokens, shuffle them in my hand without looking, and then pull one randomly. That works too. But it's a mismatch, and it's sort of like, I would love to just shuffle them up and put them on the table and not ever think about it again. So there is that. Everything else looks good, just as good as it looked in the original game, so no issues there. As far as every other category here in my target audience system, it gets a thumbs up across the board. So theme, I like it, a continuation of the original game with some cool new characters. I like them a lot. The replayability here gets kicked up a little bit. 2 new characters, as I said, a little bit more to concern yourself with, right? These neat little powers that pop up everywhere. And those time portals, which can be annoying. The game length, no strong effect from this. I say it sticks to about what it was, which was a punchy game length. Ease of play, very simple to implement all this. Everything is spelled out clearly. And then lastly, tactics, strategy, things like that. The game still has a lot of luck, always did. But I do like little powers in games. And this gives me that. The original one, you had those characters with their nice big special cards. So you had some of that. But now having some of the artifacts out there, some of these treasures, or his possessions as they call them, have their own little built-in powers that if you really want it, you can target it, stop the clock from moving, and pick that up. But it's only worth half a point. Or when they show up, do you let the professor worry about that, giving you fewer things he's going to attack right on the board that he's going to possibly take, while letting you focus on a bigger one? And then when he does finally take it, yeah, he ticks the clock up a little bit, but he only earns half a point for that. So those are interesting choices. I like that. It's a small amount, this expansion adds, but what it adds, I do like. And I think it falls in line for me with the original game. It's about a 7 out of 10. So this is going to get a seal of approval from me. I don't know how big the audience for this expansion is going to be, but I like the original game, and I'm happy to see it get some support. So there you go. Professor Evil and the Citadel of Time Architects of Magic expansion. I recommend it if you like the original game. Thanks for checking this out with me. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.